Morning all. Sitting in my car on a very early Sunday morning in Temecula. I'll explain why the car and why early in a bit. Next episode, this one I wanted to talk about this kind of mantra that's been forming in me, which has been this idea of living courageously. And it's quite an important mantra for me because the only reason that I've found my way to it is because I've had that deep realization of how fearfully I've been living, right? Fearful of losing everything that I've worked for. I had a business in South Africa, lived in perennial fear of losing that, constantly fearful of losing my house, losing whatever it was. And this fearful kind of living was just muscle memory to my central nervous system. Little things like, coming to America, for example, and walking into a boardroom and sitting around a board table with, 15 people in there, and the perennial American method of, hey guys, let's go around the table and everybody tell us a little bit about themselves. And that public speaking aspect would just well up in me, and I'd really have this kind of like central nervous system reaction that was really kind of crazy. And in all of those moments, right, doing business presentations to the whole company, for example, Zoom calls, whatever you can think of that had some kind of public aspect to it, I lived fearfully in, right? And in those days, I held on to this mantra that I'd read somewhere, which was, do it scared, right? And it was this idea that no matter how nervous you were, you got to do it. And then on top of that, there was also the social pressure, the livelihood pressure. This is my job. I can't fail. I can't be seen to be inadequate. But I would, stay up all night in a fearful state, mornings or the night before presentations or Zoom calls. It was a real business issue for me, and I hit it well, and I did it scared. But what I come to realize is that idea of doing it scared is one thing, right? And there's great courage in that. There's a lot of people who do things that terrify them, and I celebrate the courage in that. The problem with me was that the paradigm that would happen after doing it scared would be me beating up on myself. Things like, hey, you didn't do very well in that presentation. In fact, I think it was terrible. Oh, that Zoom call, you stuttered. Oh, this, that, and the other, right? And I would constantly have this negative self-talk because I was doing this thing scared, and I was scared before, I was scared during, and I was scared after, right? And as a result, I kind of feel like for most of my life, I've been scared of life. Like just, going into situations consistently terrified that the worst case scenario is going to happen, right? And then through this kind of enlightenment that's come my way, and reading books and really finding this idea of living courageously, right? Living in a state of love and hope and opportunity, not a state of fearfulness, right? It's really changed the way that I see the world. So much so that, I left a really good job that I had here in America, and I have decided to, open a coaching business, a mentor business, a consulting business. And I've decided to do that in this courageous manner, not reckless, but courageous. In the meantime, I've been driving Uber, which is an interesting experience, hence the reason why I'm in my car. But, in this idea of not doing these things and taking these leaps recklessly, I've been using it to pay the bills, and then I've been using it to cultivate this other business. And look at me now, right? I'm doing YouTube videos, which I'm not sitting here in an absolute knot of nervousness now, because the paradigm that I do after this is I'm kinder to myself in terms of the response. Sometimes I do these videos and nobody subscribes, or I get a relatively small amount of views. The old me would really beat myself up about that. Whereas this living courageously and coming from a place of love and opportunity, I see this as about growth for me, and if it does give any of you out there some kind of joy, some kind of epiphany, then great. But at the end of the day, I feel much calmer in life because I'm looking at things from a different perspective. And who knows, there is obviously the fear of, is this business going to work? Am I going to be able to be sustainable? But here's the thing. I'm chasing the dream. I'm going for it. I want to be able to look in the mirror and say to myself, come what may, I gave it a good tonk, right? I went for it. And that's me getting out of my comfort zone, doing YouTube videos, doing Instagram posts. The social media world, all of these kinds of things, all completely foreign and new to me. But in the spirit of living courageously, I'm embracing these things and I'm going for it. So, that's kind of like a shift that's happened in me that's really made my insides calmer and made me look at things in a different thing. And most importantly, the self-kindness piece, right? So look, guys, if you ever enjoy my videos, it's amazing if you would subscribe. You don't know how much that helps me just in terms of motivation, but also it's part of me trying to build a business here, right? And reach out to me. Like I would love to be able to sit and have a Zoom coffee, or even better, a Zoom adult beverage with any of you and just shoot the breeze, right? Just connect as humans. Just be in the spirit of humanity, as opposed to, all of this vitriol and stuff that goes out on social media. So press that subscribe button. I would really appreciate it. And I will, in this new spirit, start getting a little bit more regular with a cadence on these videos. But in the meantime, thanks for watching. Thanks for your interest. I appreciate you all. See you later.